There's a moment that comes right before any big shift in your life. And it's not when you have the plan, the money, things figured out, or security. It's when you choose to have faith anyway, when you choose to come back to what you know deep down and are able to honour what you are called to do without having your external reality confirm or show you that just yet. And I have been tested so many times on this journey, so I'm really excited to be sharing something a little bit more vulnerable with you today on exactly how I've been bridging that gap. That gap when you don't yet have what you feel like you need for your sense of security or safety, when you don't yet have the evidence that things are going to work out, and you either have a choice to collapse back into your old life, old version of yourself, or to move forward with unwavering faith to truly bridge that gap into your new life. So let's get right into it, how we can come back to this faith and how we can begin not just thinking about the life that is calling us, but actually living it. A few years ago, I made the decision that at the time everyone thought I was crazy. I left my home, my only stable income, and most of my belongings to fly to the other side of the world and follow what I was being intuitively called to do, what I was feeling inspired by, and what felt aligned, yet there was so much unknown. It logically did not make any sense, both financially, but for so many reasons. Yet there was something in me pulling me towards this. And the question that I had to keep coming back to that really supported me on this was, am I coming from love or fear? This really helped very quickly clarify and discern where I was moving from and what I wanted to honour when these challenging moments were coming up. Little did I know that I would continue being tested. So many moments, not just with that first travel, but many more that I did after that. So many testing moments of not really knowing how I was going to be supported. And I mean on literal real life problems in terms of finances, having somewhere to stay, not knowing really how or when work was going to flow or in what quantities. So many new things to navigate and not really having the answers there. And often it was being tested in the last final moments. And what really came through strong was that when I was able to let go of the fear, and I don't mean the fear wasn't still there, but when I wasn't allowing it to dictate what I was moving towards, when I was able to shift back into trust and build that trust muscle each moment at a time, even when the moments were incredibly challenging, contrasting, and triggering, in those final moments, something always shifted. There was always a shift which enabled me to, in some form, be supported, whether it was a miraculous turn of events, an opportunity, resources coming in. These were not always logical things and not always hard cash. It was in unusual ways, synchronicities that I just couldn't have planned for. But time and time again, what this really taught me was how truly supported I was and how I needed to take those first steps to trust, to move forward without knowing how I would be supported or how things would orchestrate, but knowing that I would. And each time I truly was. I was always supported and things always worked out, even though it felt incredibly challenging and these tests or moments kept coming up. And now looking back, these were not punishments, these were not tests for the sake of tests. They were truly initiations so that I could begin embodying this unwavering faith, not just for myself, but for the people that I work with and for the spaces that I hold. It was an opportunity for me to embody this at a deeper level, because it can be easy to have faith and trust when things are working out well, or our external environment is just how we like it, that's not really going to test us or get us to embody this lesson. But when nothing is pointing towards things working out necessarily, when we really truly are being tested, that is the moment that we can embody this. And what I now also see looking back is all of those moments were also paving the way for things that I'm doing now. They were laying in foundations, giving me insights that go far beyond something I could perceive just with intellect in the mind. So trusting that whatever challenge is coming up for you is happening for you can also shift you into seeing the opportunity there, the medicine there, noticing what's arising for you so that you can heal it, alchemize it, transmute it, not just for yourself, but for what you too are being called towards. So this can all be incredibly powerful stuff, but we have to be open to it, and we have to begin building that faith muscle so that we can truly embody it for ourselves. So throughout these years of being really, truly tested, the core beliefs that I kept coming back to was that I am truly supported and that all my needs and more will really be met. And again, time and time again, I came to see that that really was true. Others that really kind of supported that also were knowing that I cannot lose what's meant for me. So whatever is showing up, it's either fully aligned, or we can release and let go of the things that are moving away from us. We don't have to cling onto them or come from a place of scarcity where we're clutching, because truly what is meant for us will be there, and what is not, we can allow that to fall away, because we cannot lose what is meant for us. And I think the other thing is, often when we're in these testing moments and there's doubts and fears coming up, it can be so easy to try and want to figure it all out, to get the solutions, to see the entire map and journey ahead of us. But often that is not really for us to know. That almost can limit and constrict the path, because we're not then opening up to unlimited possibilities or ways to orchestrate around us that we simply could not have conceived through the intellect and mind. So when we just simplify things and focus on the thing that we're called to do in that moment, so this is really coming back to presence, moment to moment awareness, and focusing on the one, whether it's an action or intuitive nudge, and this can take the form of, sometimes it's pausing, coming into stillness, sometimes it's honouring the action we're being called to do, so it can look different at different moments in time. But when we come back to just focusing on that, rather than trying to see the entire map, then we come back into alignment in many ways, because we're focusing on what we can do and we're showing our step forward in this path, whilst opening up to the path flowing in whatever direction it needs to, so that we can truly allow ourselves to be supported and for our needs to be met, without trying to control how that path unfolds. And that's really where the kind of magic happens. And what I encourage and invite you to do is to really feel into what themes from this are resonating, where you are potentially constricting or not allowing this path to unfold, and where you are being called to come into deeper trust and faith around this. And what I'm going to do is share with you a really powerful framework that allows you to shift into this unwavering faith very naturally and easily, as a guide and support that really has truly transformed my relationship with faith, but also so many people that I've worked with and guided through this journey. So I call this framework the Bloom Blueprint. And the reason why it's so powerful, especially in relation to building this unwavering faith, is because it's shifting you from living from the inside out. So rather than needing our external to look a certain way, or needing certain security, stable structures outside of us to feel that sense of safety and security and feel that faith, we are shifting to being grounded and rooted in that from within, so that we can move back in the world without needing things to be a certain way, by just leaning into our faith. And ironically, that is when everything shifts, and all the things that we are desiring and wanting to call in naturally become part of our reality and become part of the life that we are living. So this is why it's so powerful. And the interesting thing is, this is our natural state, but we're often so conditioned by our habits and our external to live very conditionally, needing things to be a certain way, or having control, or feeling like we need to work hard or do things how we've maybe most of our lives been doing, but are ultimately no longer serving us and are getting in the way of this natural way of being. So I'm going to just give you an overview of the 4 phases part of this Bloom Blueprint, and you can feel into what's resonating and what you may feel called to explore further following this. Each of the 4 phases of the Bloom Blueprint mirrors what we see in nature, the seasons we see and experience all around us. So the first phase always mirrors autumn, and it's the season of surrender, of letting go. So just as we see leaves falling away and things beginning to dissolve and unravel, this first phase invites us to let go and release all of the habitual ways of being that are no longer serving us. So these can be old beliefs around what we should do, or working from just the intellect or mind alone, or maybe fears and illusions that are coming up. So doubts around, can you really trust yourself? Can it be this simple? Can we surrender and lean into something greater than us to really support our needs? So this can look different for different people, but it's really spotlighting what are the things that are blocking and keeping us stuck, keeping us in fear, in a way that is resisting the kind of natural flow. And we can do this through many different avenues, but essentially getting really clear on that and allowing us to release and move through is what's going to pave the way for the following phases. So the second phase invites us to ground back into the body in a season of winter. So it's going back inwards. And this is super powerful for tapping into that sense of security and safety from within. Because ultimately, when we are secure and grounded there, and we feel like we can go within for that felt sense, then it's much easier for us to have that unwavering faith, because we're not relying on things outside of ourselves. We're not allowing our external structures to give us that perceived sense of security and safety. We are instead coming back within and living from the inside out, which is really where true empowerment comes from, and where we can live more unconditionally and freely, rooted from within. So this second phase is super powerful for that, and it also invites us to kind of nurture and take care of ourselves and really tap into our wisdom of the body, which again, all of these things just support this journey so potently. And it's paving the way for the third phase of emergence. So just as we see in spring, things coming back into life, things moving back into the world, this phase invites us to integrate all that we've journeyed through, but to really begin practicing that faith trust muscle. So coming back into the world, maybe taking action or starting to move forward, but from a new state of being, from no longer operating from fear and illusions, but really beginning to trust that it can be as simple as following what we're intuitively called to do, and beginning to trust that our needs will be met. And again, all tied into this unwavering faith, which by the fourth and final phase of unfolding, and this is the kind of peak of summer, things coming into full bloom and flourishing, but it's just a default way of being. It's so cemented and embodied that we can just lean into that and feel comfortable and relaxed and truly safe and secure from within. And this is where all of our world and external reality is really kind of matching this internal state, and we can really enjoy that unfolding, the path. We're not restricted to it all needing to be positive and light. You know, we may still be being tested in some ways, but they're no longer derailing us because we can lean into that faith, and we're seeing how everything is truly serving us and the path that we're on. So there's no longer this kind of negative perception, because everything is in some ways supporting us and we're being anchored in all of that. So this is the framework that I guide people on, and it's so powerful, and there's so much more to this, but just feel into what is resonating for you from this, and maybe what phase you might feel called to spotlight and journey a bit deeper, so that you really can begin coming back into unwavering faith from the inside out. This isn't a linear process. We are often cycling and moving through spirals of these phases again and again, but each time we embody something more deeply, and we're able to reap the medicine or the rewards from each of these phases, and ultimately come back to that deeper faith from within. And if you are feeling called to explore this work in more real time, in a more supportive structure, I offer a free monthly gathering where we can explore themes of the Bloom Blueprint in real time, both around faith but other themes coming up seasonally. I hold this space on the first Wednesday of every month, so do click the link to find out more if you want to join and just explore this for yourself, because it's not just about understanding these concepts, it's really about shifting to living and embodying them. And I also offer free exploratory calls if you'd like to find out more about the coaching and other offers that I have, which all pull in this blueprint and are incredibly powerful for shifting from an old version of yourself or life that no longer feels aligned to truly living the life that is calling you, whatever it is emerging and coming up from within, to allow yourself to honor that. So do find out more if that's resonating, or just hold space following this video to notice what's been stirring up, what you're feeling called to integrate further, just with curiosity, and seeing where that path then unfolds. And if you found this helpful, please do like and subscribe for more content, and do also share this with anyone you feel called to, who may be in a similar place, or maybe just is looking to tap into their faith from within and support their life in a more empowering way. But I'm so grateful for you being here, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Sending so much love and gratitude.